Hi and welcome to this review. Here in front of me I have the Rotoracer RR210 frame. The frame was designed by Mac and Kristof, two very passionate and enthusiastic FPV racers from Poland. The About Us section of the homepage is very inspiring and motivates to be a part of the frame. When ordering the RR210 you have some options to choose. You can buy the frame with or without arms. This is because you can use ZM-R250 arms instead of the original ones, but I will explain that in detail later. You can also choose if you will use 3 or 4 mm arms. If you only buy the frame by itself, you will have to mention the arm thickness you want to use, so they can pack in the right spacers. You can also choose if you want the PDB included or not. I got this box from Mac, which contains the 4 mm version of the RR210 and the PDB. So what's in there? The packing is really neat and shows their love for details. The colors are well matched even for the packing. It contains the top and the bottom plate, the middle part which is holding the arms and the bottom plate together, 4 mm arms, spacers, screws and the PDB. You can clearly see that every part is exactly as big as it has to be, what reduces the weight to a minimum. There are only holes with a purpose and they are positioned exactly where they need to be. Now let's have a look at every part in detail. Let's do that bottom up and therefore I'll start with the bottom plate. In the front you can see an oval hole where the FPV camera gets mounted. For that purpose you will usually use a HS1177 type FPV cam, which fits in perfectly. Other cameras could work too, but you should keep in mind that the space is very limited. In front of the hole you can see a little ledge which protects the camera in case of a crash. It's only big enough to serve its purpose of protection, but it won't be visible in the FPV feed. Between the cam and the middle part should be enough space left to place a micro minim OSD. In the middle you can see the mounting holes for the arms, the PDB and the flight controller. If you use the provided PDB, a little blue LED will glow through this hole and improve the visibility of your craft for other pilots in the air. This can prevent crashes and save money. If you're very observing, you will realize that the holes for the front and the back arms are symmetrical. This is only to make use of the arm holes and use them for mounting the flight controller. The true X shape is not influenced by that, as the motor distance is symmetrical. In the back part of the bottom plate should be enough space to stack up the RC receiver and the VTX. The plate provides 2 holes for a cable tie to strip everything tightly to the frame. The receiver antennas can be mounted upwards against the frame spacers and aligned in the right angle. The next layer are the arms. And here comes a cool one. The mounting holes allow the usage of ZM-R250 arms. Depending on which spacers you use, you can use 3 mm or 4 mm ZMR arms. Not only that they are cheaper, but you can get them nearly everywhere. Or you can invest a little bit more and buy the high quality Rotoracer arms. They are optimized for minimum drag and lightweight, but not at the cost of protection. There are some cutaways around the motor which reduce the weight but leave enough meat for protection. They also give the arm a fresh look compared to the ZMR arms. Let's move up to the middle part, which primary function is to screw the arms to the frame and hold everything firmly together. It's made from carbon fiber, so it's light and robust. The nuts aren't glued, so it can happen that the nut falls off. That's no problem at all because the screws will pull them back into the carbon fiber plate. This whole concept has fast arm switches in case of a crash in mind. The risk for a crash in a competition is drastically increased because you will push your limits, and if anything happens, and believe me, it will happen, everything has to go fast. You can prepare arms with motors and ESCs equipped, so you can swap a defective motor or ESC or broken arm in an instant. A really cool feature of this part is the hole in the middle where the provided PDB fits perfectly into. Let's get to the PDB here. It's very small and has some really cool features. Besides the initial function of a PDB, which is to connect all ESCs to the battery, it has also 2 linear voltage regulators which provide your system with clean 5 and 12 volts. On the bottom side it has the mentioned LED which lights in blue color. The only thing to be very careful about is the small distance between the carbon fiber parts and the soldering pads of the PDB. For unexpected individuals it's very easy to make a short circuit over the frame. Keep in mind that carbon fiber is conductive. Solder your wires in a way that the insulation hangs a little over the carbon parts and double check your plus and minus poles against each other with a multimeter. I love the design of the top plate. The first thing you realize is the cutaway for the FPV camera. Because of the low height of the frame and the high camera tilt you will need on a racing quad, it's a necessity. Moving back on the top plate you will see a hole in the middle which reduces the weight and offers access to your hardware. For example, to switch the channel of your video transmitter. What comes now is a big thing for me. It's very rare that the frame designers use the space between the prop blades. Here you can see how the frame in general gets a little bit wider, what gives room to place the hardware near the center of gravity. It also allows your power cables and antennas to leave the frame without the battery being in the way or risking the cables to get into your props during the flight. It gives you plenty of possibilities to mount your antennas and power cables. You also have holes to use a Velcro strap and cable ties to strip everything down tightly. Let's sum it up. It's a really awesome frame with a lot of details and handy features like the small and lightweight PDB with the integrated LED, the possibility to change arms very fast, compatibility with the ZMR arms, the wider middle part around the center of gravity which allows efficient cable management, the extended bottom plate to protect the FPV camera, the real egg shape which optimizes the weight distribution and the drag, the extremely light weight for what it offers, and last but not least the extremely nice and sporty design. I was using the frame for about 2 months now and this is how it looks like after the following crashes.